When we dedicate a lot of our energy and attention to the people we consider to be our own, we then naturally expect them to obey us in return. So in a way, Jupiter's slogan is, I am the law simply because I said so, and if you don't respect me, you will absolutely be punished. And to punish, Jupiter has Saturn at its beck and call. But we'll talk about Saturn later. So let's look at the Jupiter program. You remember in the 36s, in the 6th line, the crisis ends with everyone who needs to be punished being punished, and they go insane. Remember, right? 36 to 6. And now we have the same line both on the red side and on the black side. But Jupiter, which is in the 35s, in the first line of the 35s, is in detriment. On the red side, it stands in the 45s, in the 5th line, also in detriment. Let's break down both. Let's break down both. And that's where we'll finish for today, because I see that I've completely lost my voice. And we'll continue tomorrow. So now Jupiter, and then we'll wrap up for today. We'll continue tomorrow. So the 35s. The 35th hexagram, first line. And let me remind you, this is the law of this year. The law of our year sounds like humility, acceptance of rejection. And we have detriment, we have no choice. There is no exaltation here. There won't be a program. We're like, oh, what a bad detriment. Yes, we will look at the exaltation. Well, it's not necessarily a detriment, we say, when we don't have fixation. But here there is fixation. It sounds like a self-destructive reaction to rejection, loss of dignity, change. So what is progress? Progress is always change. But here change comes through someone rejecting someone else. And this rejection is so humiliating that those who are rejected simply lose their minds. And if we look at the 36, they go insane. Carefully. And now Jupiter from the other side of the program, from the red side, the 45th gate is also referred to as the gathering, or alternatively, the gate of the one who collects and brings things together. You see, we tend to speak classically, often using metaphors to convey deeper meaning. Therefore, we also call the 45th gate the gate of the sovereign king, or the gate of the respected tribal leader. Well, just to understand who can actually gather us together. Some kind of elder, an aksakal, can gather us. Some elder, a respected, recognized person, if he says so, we all gather together. We need to talk about whether we're going to buy an apartment for our nephew Tonechka. The elder spoke and everyone gathered. Honestly, if someone else had said it, you'd just tell them to get lost. Like, what do I care? Buy it or don't buy it. In the end, I'll just send you the money if it's the family fund. Why should I even come over? But you see, when the elder speaks, everyone's like, yeah, like the elder is the chief or something. An aksakal, I think, is one of those old men in Central Asia who sit around with their beards. They do this, just sitting there all the time. No one bothers them, and all the daughters-in-law take care of them. They just sit there with their beards, staying silent for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And then suddenly they'll say, take that over there. And everyone's like, the aksakal has spoken, so everyone goes and does it. So the 45th gate is the gate of the aksakal. That is, there really is a program here for the power of the voice to gather everyone together. It's another matter that when the 25th gate is missing, there's no will to push things through so that everyone does what you say, but the power to gather people is present in the 45th gate. This is a real leader of a tribal nature. Everyone gathers and we discuss the issue. But here we have the 5th line and it's in detriment. It goes like this. A sense of the rightness of action, which implies respect that has not yet been earned. Or the White Book interprets this as an aspiration for leadership, the right to which has not been earned. This is the fundamental law, the undeniable principle, the absolute rule we must follow. So for this year, it's important to know that we have 2 guiding laws. The first of these laws is quite clear. Any meaningful changes will only happen as a result of the collective group consciously and deliberately refusing to accept a particular person or a specific thing. Saying no. Well, for example, The same Trump, Donald Trump. So as soon as he takes office with his 45 to 21, he already thinks he's the center of the universe. He still hasn't really understood. He already thinks he's the center of the universe, and he had a whole 5 years to think about how America should develop, and that's it. And now here we go. That is, well, for America, let's say, but it's not at all the same for all other countries. For example, the countries of South America, for example, the countries of Asia, for example, the countries of Africa. It's clear that Europe and America have their own long-standing relationship because of NATO and all that. But Africa, Latin America, and Asia don't have those kinds of relations with America. And it's not at all the case that it is. So our progress will go through this. For example, Donald Trump might say something through some channel, I don't know, through something. So what are they discussing now? Greenland, right? I don't care about him. But here you see we have a collective world. We're not in the 15th century at all, not for a single second. We're in the 21st century, and human society is more or less integrated compared to previous centuries. So this person says something, and then everyone else, the other members of the collective, gather together. And they're like, no, we're against it. No, the collective is against it. And this is where things get really interesting. The program of the year, according to the law of the year, this societal pressure ultimately obliges people who are rejected by the collective and who are unwilling to accept this painful reality to face the terrible consequence of going insane. What's going on? What did you say? Losing their wigs with all this shouting. In short, looking humiliating. Doing things and taking actions that humiliate this person in their reaction when the collective tells them no. And it's funny, but that's progress. That's how events develop. It's like lancing a boil. That's how it is. That's in the 35th gate. And in the 45th, we have, I'm going to describe pretty much the same thing now. I'll describe pretty much the same thing. Some guy who thinks he's now the elder of everyone on planet Earth says, well, I think it should be this way. For example, Donald Trump. And also, sorry, he didn't earn it. He didn't earn it. You know, Gothic, you really ought to make a concerted effort to talk to a wider range of people. By doing so, you can build genuine, lasting relationships with various countries, with their everyday people, and of course, with their leaders, such as their presidents. Honestly, you should take some time before you just jump in and declare, I'm the leader of everyone, and that's why I'm doing this. But then suddenly the 35th gate on the other side of Jupiter is like, there's nothing at all. The law of the year will be to say no. To say no to a leader who, damn it, is pushing in. Hasn't earned it yet, but is already trying to take the lead. We say no. After this no, this leader gets furious. Let's see. I'm simply describing the process, explaining how all of these different elements come together in this specific way, as it is detailed in the I Ching. And we'll see for ourselves how it turns out. That's all for today, because I've completely lost my voice. I've totally lost my voice. Tomorrow at 16 o'clock, I hope everything will be fine, I hope. What does fine mean? We weren't bombed. I got a good night's sleep. I didn't wake up with a headache so bad that I just want to bang my head against the wall. And at 16 o'clock, we can meet. Continue our forecast, I hope. Maybe even finish it, but you understand. This is the year 35 to 36. You never know when something will end. Experience? This is yet another law of the abstract. First, the first law, you never know how an experience will end. And the second, well, I'm talking about the camel with the pluses. And the second is, you never know when it will end. In this year, you can't make plans. Well, you just can't. Everyone who tries to make plans this year, everyone will fail. What can you do? You can just float along moment by moment and observe. Yes, you can have intentions. Why not? Especially if those intentions are filtered. If there is a clear feeling, if something has come together in my life and I want it this way, why not? Thanks to that. But don't make plans about when. Just moment by moment. It could happen much earlier than you expect, or it could be later. An important point. Don't make plans this year.